What started as a trip to Westgate to see a car show ended with Tyler Wilson losing his life. 5 years later, Glendale police are still searching for the shooter. This is Arizona Crime Uncovered. I'm Ashley Holden. 911 calls, body cam, and other video released from that January 2020 night as Glendale police appealed to the community for tips in the case. In the midst of this renewed push for answers, I sat down with Tyler's mom in her first ever interview. She's speaking out as she and her family push for justice and closure for their loved one.
Hey, yeah, we're at Westgate right here. Someone just got shot.
Police also at the Glendale Entertainment District investigating a shooting.
I can't even get my mind around why somebody would do what this person did.
Tyler Wilson was just 31 years old when he was shot and killed in a Westgate parking lot. This is his mom, Trish Wilson, speaking with us just days after marking 5 years since her son's death.
Have you ever done an interview before?
I haven't.
This is your first one?
Yeah, I'm definitely out of my comfort zone. I usually don't even like my picture taken, but again, as I told my daughter before I did this, I'm going to do anything it takes this time. I think I've been too quiet and too under the radar, and I'm ready to make my voice heard for Tyler.
I wanted first for you to tell us a little bit about your son.
My boy. He was very energetic. He loved to challenge his adrenaline, so he was kind of an adrenaline junkie. He was into motorcycles, loved car shows, loved working on cars. He was a great uncle to my daughters. At that time, it was only 2 kids. So he would play over there all the time, barbecue over there all the time. He was just really laid back, very happy-go-lucky.
Tyler would have turned 32 in July. His passion, classic cars, which started with his dad. His dad
and he started at a very young age. Tyler was about 6th grade when they bought their first car together. So it was an awful VW, and they tore it down to the tires, built it back up, and the pride on both of their faces. I don't know who was more proud, Mike or my son, but that's where he first got his love for it, and he never stopped.
Trish losing her husband to ALS 13 years before losing her son. The death hitting her family hard.
He just struggled. I don't think he ever really came to even accept the fact that his dad had passed the way he did. So it was very hard for him to watch and very hard for him to overcome.
But his love of cars still stuck with Tyler, eventually finding a place in Avondale to pursue his passion.
He was looking for apartments and didn't have an apartment with a garage. So at that point he realized he was going to have to look in different directions. So he went and bought himself, I don't know, it was like a 4,000 square foot garage and made his own little bathroom in there. It wasn't pretty. And then made the office his bedroom, and then his work was right where he was. So once he got in there, he was bringing in motorcycles and cars, and that was his love.
Working on historic cars even became his livelihood. The night Tyler was shot, he was heading to a car show at Westgate, the entertainment district in Glendale. I want you to take me back to that night in 2020. He was going to a car show, is that right?
He was at the car show with his friend John, and kind of a last-minute decision. It was Wednesday night. It was kind of a last-minute decision. They both had to work that day, but heard this was going on.
Tyler was a passenger in his friend's car that January night, the two trying to park when there was some kind of an argument with what police call an impatient driver. So when did you hear what happened?
7:15. I got a call from what I thought was my son, and I just answered the phone and said, "Hey babe, what's up?" And then this stranger, I had never met John, said, "This is a friend of Tyler's, and Tyler's been shot." And I, immediately just said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, Tyler's been shot and he's really hurt. And I said, "Well, where are you?" And he said he couldn't tell me where he was at. And I said, "Put the police on the phone." And he said, "The police are really busy. They're all consumed with what was going on." So I just left my house and started driving around looking for hospitals that might have him.
And at this point, he was taken to the hospital, so he was fighting.
Yeah, he was. Unbeknownst to me, I really thought it was just some guy who was angry shot him once or twice, and Tyler's a tough kid, so I never imagined the outcome. And then when I heard it was a triage hospital, I was checking the regular hospitals, but because he was in such severe condition, they took him to the only triage hospital, which was in Litchfield.
And your niece was actually there that night.
My niece was there. I was in the waiting room, waiting for me. They wouldn't let me back to see him, and I was trying to explain to him, it was a critical condition, and so my niece who worked there heard that this case had come in and what his name was, and then realized that I was in the waiting room, so she was able to get me in and get me up to the floor where he was.
So thankful probably that she was there?
I was thankful, but I was also angry because there was a nurse that said I literally missed him by 6 minutes, so that's never something you want to hear.
Tyler dying at the hospital, January 29th, 2020. The push for answers just beginning. When you think back to that night and now 5 years later, to not have answers, how tough is that?
Really hard.
Killer on the run. It's been 3 weeks since a man was gunned down at Westgate in Glendale.
And in just a tragic turn of events, we're learning that victim was rushed to the trauma hospital where one of his own family members works. ABC15 investigator Nicole Gregg speaking with Tyler's cousin just weeks after the shooting back in 2020.
It is confusing that somebody wouldn't even give him a chance and just shoot him in cold blood. I'm blessed because I don't think I would have been able to cope with his death if I hadn't been there with him.
At that time, Glendale police releasing this video of a silver Chevy Cruze. But years later, the person who shot Tyler is still out there. Any kind of suspect description, extremely limited.
So to not have any answers, and let me just say this, I have an amazing detective that I'm working with in the Glendale Police Department. He's been very outreaching, he's been very open with everything, but he also has been very guarded with my heart. So he's been very protective about how severe the whole thing has been. So once I saw how grave it really was that night, that's when I just decided to, enough's enough. We've kind of been playing around who might be able to get the word out. And I just talked to my daughter because I have to protect her. She's got 3 sons and her husband. And so after talking with her, we both decided that we're just going to move forward and put this out there, and we're going to find this person somehow, some way. But it's been extremely difficult living every year, not knowing what happened.
Yeah, for this to all happen over a parking.
Yeah, I find that it's just incomprehensible for that to have happened. We have no idea who this guy is.
Okay, hey Tyler, do you have any idea who did this to you?
All right, you got top side here. He's got several of them, it looks like.
Okay, hold still, okay?
4 rounds. He's got one in the shoulder, one in the abdomen.
In January 2025, Glendale police releasing new 911 calls, body camera, and video of that silver sedan on social media and to ABC15.
You guys need to be looking for a 4-door Chevy Cruze. I couldn't get the license plate as they were pulling away. I was coming out of work, and
what color was it?
Yeah, it's silver, 4-door, tan windows. I couldn't tell who was driving.
Hi, I just found out my brother was shot at Westgate, and I can't get anyone to give me information.
It seems like so many people jumped in to call 911.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, I was actually shocked. To even hear my daughter's voice asking about her brother, I didn't know that either. So there was a lot of surprises I got with that video, good surprises, because I knew that there were people actually that did care that something happened that night.
Also in that body camera video is Sergeant Brian Hoskin, who was one of the first officers on scene the night Tyler was shot. Can you take us through what you remember from that night?
Yeah, so my partner and I was a motor officer at the time. We were working nights. We were in the Westgate area for a car show that was taking place. We were in the center area of it, just checking out cars and kind of mingling with the crowd when somebody came running up to both of us and had told us that somebody had just been shot in the parking lot to the east. And ultimately we came around the corner, saw some people gathered. We went straight over to them in the parking lot, and that's when we saw our victim, Tyler Wilson, laying in the middle of the parking lot where the cars drive, and he was in pain. So at that time, as myself and my partner started talking to him, and he was alert and talking to us, getting his name, trying to figure out who did this, if he knew the individual, if he'd ever seen him before, trying to get descriptions and things like that, we noticed that he'd been shot in the torso area about 4 times, 3 to 4 times. So we started applying bandages and basic medical care until the fire department got there. It sounded like he was making comments that he didn't know the individual. It was very random, a stranger at that, over a parking issue, and that they had kind of gotten in an argument over.
What were you able to learn from the people on scene about that argument, since he was a passenger in the car?
What it sounds like is he was a passenger in his friend's vehicle, and they were going over toward that car show area. They were backing into a spot, and they were being cautious because there were a lot of nice vehicles around. As you can see in some of the crime scene photos we released, there's very nice classic cars in there. So they were being cautious, at which time this impatient driver did whatever he did, we don't quite know, which led to Tyler getting out of the passenger side of his friend's car once they stopped and having a confrontation, an argument with this driver. What was said, what was exactly done, we don't know, but we had a lot of good witnesses who gave us the suspect vehicle description, and it was a silver-colored Chevy Cruze, a 4-door sedan, that we were able to locate on traffic cameras in the area of intersections as it was fleeing the area at a high rate of speed, running red lights, seemed like they were scared, but unfortunately we weren't able to get any type of other information at that time.
So Glendale police and Tyler's family are appealing to the community, Silent Witness even offering a new reward, hoping it will lead to answers.
To me, at this point, it sounds like he shot to kill, and I just would like to know why. Why?
Yeah. 2025 marks 5 years without answers for the Wilson family. With each passing year, sometimes memories can fade. Can you explain what it's like to continue to work a case? You were there that first night, but to continue to work a case all these years, does it get harder and harder?
I think it does, because people come and go. There's a possibility this individual is no longer with us in this world. Who knows? But the longer it is to solve a case, sometimes it can be more difficult. People lose memory. They don't remember things that were told to them, or remember that their friend maybe owned a silver Chevy Cruze at some point. So the sooner we can get that information, I think the more successful we can be at it.
How important is it for people to look at that footage and really rack their brains for, do I know this car or someone who drives a car like it?
Yeah, so you're going to have to think back about 5 years, right? 5 years ago this happened. Did you know somebody who had this car who liked to go to the area? Maybe you know a friend who recently sold a car 5 years ago immediately in that time frame, because that's very likely as well, that this individual doesn't own this car any longer, nor have they for some time. If you heard any rumors about it, maybe you were in the car with this individual when it happened. We don't know that. We would love for you to come forward and give us that information. We would love to speak to the person who shot Tyler, to get their side of the story, to see what happened, to see what actually took place from their point of view, to figure out what went down.
Tyler's mom has a Facebook page dedicated to getting answers for her son. If there's someone out there that knows something, what would your message be to them?
It would be the message that I sent this morning. I don't do social media, but I have created a page for Tyler. My message this morning was, Tyler was my son. He was a brother. He was a friend, and he was an uncle. I wish people who have families to realize it's not just another shooting that you see on TV. I know everybody hurts the same way when they lose a loved one, but he was a family member and he meant a lot to us, and we need to find out what happened.
Be the one, come forward, do the right thing, help this family, help our detectives, help the individual who was involved, because I'm sure to keep a secret like this is just got to be eating somebody alive, and we need to hear their side of the events that took place that night. So again, just, you know, do the right thing, do what you would want done if it was your family member.
What would it mean to find this driver to you?
I don't have anger. I know that sounds strange. I just want finality. I know this driver is going to have to live with what he's done. I'm not the judge and jury. I don't know how I would react, to tell you the truth, if I saw his face. I'm sure it would make me sick, but I'm not an unforgiving person, so I just need to know why he would do something like that.
Yeah, answers.
I need answers, yeah.
I know how appreciative she's going to be if they can get anything, any types of lead. She still has hope, as we all do, and we hope that something comes up with it that can lead to some sort of arrest or, at a minimum, closure.
There is a reward out for information.
Yes.
That's new, right?
That's new, and I plan on doing everything I can to increase that, because I know money talks.
Offer with silent witness, and we would try to work with them. Minimum $2,000 reward that would lead to the arrest of the individual involved in this case.
For the Wilsons, the information more valuable than any dollar amount, but they hope people can share the video of the car and Tyler's story so they can keep pushing for justice.
I think there's a lot of times, even after I lost my husband, you kind of lose touch with people that even Tyler was very close with, and I just want those people who still kind of stay connected on social media through other individuals, wondering how the case is going. Just ask, just put it out there, ask the questions, try and get more details, just keep it going. Whatever it takes, if it's me just posting a new picture of Tyler and reminding them that he is a brother, a son, an uncle, a friend, and we just need some answers.
Any message to the person that did this?
It can't feel good living with himself, and if he were to know that he can just confess, get it off his conscience, and deal with it. You know, he's done something horrible that can't be good for anybody to carry around. So there's a way out. Just come forward.
I feel like it's so brave to continue to fight and get the video out and fight for your son. What keeps you going through that?
Tyler, I know all I can see in my head when I'm doing stuff like this is his laid back smile, and the way my mom had passed away 4 days before this happened. His smile when we had that funeral is what I'm picturing now. So what keeps me going is Tyler. I need to find out what happened for Tyler.
As you heard, at the time of airing, there is a $2,000 reward. With little information about who was behind the wheel of that silver Chevy Cruze, police are asking if anyone has information to come forward. We'll cover all the developments here on Arizona Crime Uncovered. Thank you for watching Arizona Crime Uncovered. We're working to bring awareness to crimes where victims are still awaiting justice and also provide an in-depth look at cases still unfolding. Each episode breaks down a timeline of the case, where it stands now, and if any help is needed from the community. You can watch on ABC15.com, the ABC15 mobile app, Roku, YouTube, or any of your other streaming platforms.